This episode of the Back of the Bus podcast is brought to you by Marty Jannetty's window cleaning service. If you want a window that looks like it's not there, ask Marty Jannetty. He'll bring his friend Sean over, and they'll make your windows disappear.
He don't need Jannetty. I told you that off and on. Are you kidding? What a despicable act that was. No! Oh, my God. Right through the glass window of the barber shop.
You're a buffoon.
Okay.
That was great. Acceptable.
There we go.
Awesome.
For some reason, because I saw the Rockers earlier today in that match, and I was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to do something with Marty Jannetty. Let's go.
That's fantastic.
You're welcome. The fuck is in my pocket? Oh, it's my daughter's bracelet.
Why is it every time I see you, you're wearing pink shorts?
Bro, do you want to hold my cock ring?
No, you wish.
You wish that was fucking get your covering.
Welcome to the No Trade episode of Fantasy Football Diehards. No, wait, that's not who we are. We're not the Fantasy Football Diehards.
We're just some schmucks that do a podcast that just this episode happens to be about fantasy football. So we did our draft show, and we talked
Was that
about
our last show?
No, that was not our last show. You schmuck. That's how long it's been. He fucking doesn't even remember. What
I know. It's been a long holiday break. We are in the middle. So we're in that time of the year where I don't know what day it is or what the date is, but I do know we're in between Christmas and New Year's.
Tomorrow's New Year's Eve.
Oh, fuck me. All right. Uh-oh. What was that? I think the air turned
His
off.
AC shut off.
Okay, bueno. All right. Anyway, welcome to the Back of the Bus podcast. I'm Black. He's Half. And over here with our guest, we have Plex. Oh, somebody's here.
Well, my kids woke up.
Uh-oh.
All right, let me go beat them.
What's up?
Why are you awake?
Welcome to the Back of the Bus podcast. I'm Half. He's Black. And today we are joined by our special esteemed colleague, Plex, who I would call the guru of fantasy football. But I took his advice and I went fucking 2-10.
You did not take my advice.
Remotely did not take his advice.
Yeah, the guy who told me
You were close on like two picks.
the guy who told me not to pick up Ben Roethlisberger, who ended up being the second best quarterback in fantasy football. But that's okay. Anyway,
No, he told you not to pick up Ben Roethlisberger with your 8th pick.
ninth
Which
pick.
you did, yeah.
And I did anyway.
And then you picked up Jared Goff like 5 picks later, which you dropped, who ended up like 6th in the league. So, you know.
Hey, listen, in the end, it worked out. Did Big Ben end his season higher than Jared Goff?
He did.
Exactly.
Okay.
Anyway, so welcome to the Back of the Bus podcast again. We will digress and we will divulge into more of this fantasy football talk. We told you guys we were going to follow up on it, and this is us following up on it.
Actually keeping a promise for once.
We did keep a promise.
Damn.
Anyway, so I guess what we need to do is first let's start from let's Quentin Tarantino this bitch, and we'll start at the end.
Sure.
We will quickly go around. You two own a team, and
Yes.
you have multiple teams. Yes.
I was in 2 leagues.
Okay.
I was in 3 this year.
Okay, so 2 and 3. I was only in 1. Now we're gonna go around the room really quick, and we will just say our records. Okay. So,
I don't know what the records are. I know we lost in the team that he and I co-own. We lost in the playoffs in the first round.
all right.
And in the auction league that we're both in, I was second to last or some shit like that.
Okay.
I was in last place pretty much the whole season. I think I won like that last week that I paid no attention.
Yeah.
And whatever.
You won by accident.
Yeah, I won by accident.
Okay,
So I
that
think I went 3-9 or whatever, maybe.
We had a guy who didn't realize he was in the championship game, so that was great.
And you went
how do
2
you
and
do
10 in
that?
that league?
I did.
How do you do that?
He just didn't care. He made a couple moves throughout the season, and they were good moves, and that was it. He just rode it out. He had a good draft. He had a solid draft.
Did he win?
No, he
Thank
ended
God.
second.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know. Plex, how did you end your leagues?
All right, so I had 3 leagues. The one we co-owned, we made the playoffs, lost in the first round. My other league, I also made the playoffs,
Okay.
the auction league that I run. My work league, I ended up winning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
So 3 playoffs, 1 championship.
Well, at least there's one winner at this table.
There it is.
Because that definitely wasn't me. I ended the league 2 and 10. I have the worst record, but I ended up somehow the 8th. place, because of the way we do our final standings, we do what's called war games, where all of the bottom 6 teams have to play each other, and the one team that loses that tournament has to pay the entrance fee for the third place team. And my whole thing was to not be that person who had to pay an extra $50 or $75, whatever it is, to enter the league, right? So I did that. My first week in war games, I won, and I was okay, and then I just ignored the rest of the season. So somehow I ended up with the worst record, but not the worst in the standings. And again, to me, that's a win.
That works. Yeah, I kind of want to do in the auction league, I want to do a kind of losers bracket playoff thing where the winner of that playoff bracket maybe wins, $50, half of their buy-in or something like that. Yeah, so that's an interesting little.
What we do is so each week we pay out the top scoring team, and that doesn't matter if you're in the championship or you're not. Like if you're the top scoring team, you get paid out. That's how we keep it interesting. Again, we threw in this little wrinkle this year where the last place team or the team to lose the war games has to pay the third place team's entrance fee. So that was pretty cool. It kept those individuals who were in that running kind of engaged.
It keeps everybody interested in the league.
Yeah. There were 2 teams, the 5 and 6 team, who were in no fear of paying the third place team, so they didn't really care, which was fine. But it kept it interesting. Funny enough, there was a guy in our league during the playoffs. In the first round, he lost to his brother by 0.2 points.
Ouch.
No. Get this. The next 2 weeks, when he was in the third
score.
and fourth place, he was the highest scorer.
Yeah, that always
and
happens.
He would have beat everybody had he gone to the championship, had he gotten the 0.2 points.
Yeah, that happens to me almost every year. I lose, and then I end up the next week having like the week high. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly. No, it's crazy.
What I can't believe is that like when you lose, that you can. Oh, I get why you do it because you have an incentive. But like as soon as like I was 2-7,
You just quit.
I was like, I don't give a shit. First of all, because in that league, any moves you make over a certain amount of moves, you got to pay for. So I was like, I'm not gonna give away money for no reason. And then even in the league that we co-own, once we got eliminated from the playoffs, especially how it happened, which we'll get into later, I was done.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah,
but that's why I want to do kind of like a losers bracket playoff thing where it keeps everybody engaged until the whole season's over. You have a chance of winning maybe $40, $50, $60 back or something.
Okay.
At least it keeps people entertained.
So from what I'm hearing is we all could have done better in all of our teams except for one.
Well, of course. I mean, listen, if you're not winning the championship, you could have done better.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm very happy. 3 teams, 3 playoffs, 1 championship.
No, I mean that is.
Yeah, I'm thrilled.
Okay, all right, Black.
Yeah, I'm not at all. So fucking the auction league, I don't know. This is the 3rd year in a row that I do that league, and I don't think I finished better than 1 spot outside of the playoffs. It's like the 4th year, right, that we do that league.
This was the 5th year.
Okay, so yeah, there you go. I haven't made the playoffs in five seasons in that league.
I made the playoffs last year,
and every year in that league, I come out of the draft feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah. And
then 2 things always tend to happen. I make 1 really bad trade at some point that fucks me over.
Okay.
And
he has a star receiver go down.
And I have and I get 1 really catastrophic injury.
Oh shit. What was that? Jones enters airplane mode. Derek Jones Jr. takes flight. Oh no, fuck that. It's basketball. I thought it was about Bones Jones.
So yeah, that's the auction league. The other one, we've historically done pretty well in that league. So I felt pretty good about it coming into the season. We'll talk about what really what derailed that team for us. I guess in a little bit here, but I just it is what it is, man. Season's over. Got to retool, get ready for the next season.
All right.
It would have been also helpful if the fucking league wasn't surrounded by our douchebag friends that
don't allow trades.
Yeah,
we'll get into that. So now that we've Quentin Tarantino'd it, and we started at the end, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to draft day. My draft day was immediately following. I actually left the podcast early to go to my draft. There was a pool party at my house, not very good because I got drunk that day. Did not pick up James Conner, who when I picked up Le'Veon Bell as my number 1 pick.
Neither did we.
But in the end, where, if I could say anything, was my Achilles heel for this season, it was my draft. I had a terrible, terrible draft. It was, it was really, really bad.
Let it rip.
So we'll start it in first to last. Let's go this way. First pick was Le'Veon Bell, which is, again, everyone thought he was.
It's normally not a bad pick.
Yeah, everyone thought he was coming back, and we were just like, okay. Again, in honest to goodness, did not, and we didn't even talk about it on the podcast. I didn't know he was holding out at all. I wasn't aware of that. Then I think I had like the third pick. So the wraparound came around, and most of those people were gone. All of the top tier guys, and then the top guy that I had at that point was Gronk, and I was like, well, let's lock up a tight end, right? So we locked up a tight end in number 2 with Gronk, followed by Jordan Howard in third. Fourth was Alex Collins, followed by Jay Ajayi, then Marquise Goodwin, Robert Woods, who was not a bad pick, but I ended up trading him later. Then Big Ben Roethlisberger, which is the bane of Plex's existence, who he kept texting me, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Followed by Corey Davis, who had one great game where he scored 50 points. Kenny Stills, Robbie Anderson, Jared Goff.
Homer pick, Kenny Stills.
Yeah, Jared Goff was in there, who I later dropped. Latavius Murphy, Josh Doxson from Black's beloved
Potato
Redskins.
skins.
Yeah. So yeah, when your top 6 picks are all busts, you're not going to have a great season.
Listen, we talked about it on the other show. 2 things that make your team: you got to draft well, and you got to have those waiver wire moves. That's what wins you championships. Yep. If you don't draft well, you put yourself in a hole.
Yeah. So some of my highlights. I know you will get to it later. Black, Plex, what were your draft days like?
Not bad. I mean, what hurt us was actually not our draft, I don't think, as much as our keepers. So, because in the keeper league, we actually kept Le'Veon Bell, of course. We got to keep him. And we kept Leonard Fournette, who unfortunately was banged up for a good part of the year.
Then when he wasn't banged up, he was getting fucking suspended.
Dude, that guy was more banged up than a porn star. Hi-oh!
And the beauty of it is, like I said earlier, whenever he was on the field, he'd score points, which was great. And then he got himself suspended. And then, so when we really, really needed, to ride, he came back from the injuries, and we needed to ride that to the chip. He just fucked it all up, man. But we actually drafted pretty well, man. We came out of that draft. We had Marlon Mack, which was a mistake letting him go. We let him go pretty early. We could have used that depth, but we had pretty good depth at running back. We drafted Kerryon Johnson, who paid off for us for the season. We drafted Aaron Jones, who paid off for us for the season. Okay, so those were 2 guys that we talked about on the previous show. About, guys that you wanted to have in your running back depth, and they actually both panned out. So that was a good call by Plex.
Kerryon also ended up getting hurt towards the end.
Well, that was right before I was getting to that. Right before the playoffs, Kerryon gets hurt. So now we're down Fournette, Bell, and Kerryon. So we trotted out Aaron Jones, and who was our other starting running back in the playoff game?
No idea. I can't even remember who it was.
So
I think it was Coleman from the
Tevin
Falcons.
Coleman, who decided, that
the week after to have a monster game or something, but not that week.
But him and Ito Smith were just going back and forth all season long.
I mean, we had a great pick with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, DeAndre panned out. Receiver, the second receiver spot was problematic for us.
Yeah, it was between Golden Tate and Doug Baldwin. Tate, was all right until he got traded, then he didn't do shit with the Eagles. And Doug Baldwin just started the season too banged up, and then started turning it on these last 3 or 4 weeks. But
he made a good move. He picked up Larry Fitzgerald, who panned out for us for a couple of weeks, and then shit the bed again. Yeah. I don't want to say shit the bed, just he didn't have a quarterback to throw on the ball.
Gotcha.
No, and we were pretty decent at tight end. We ended up picking up Kittle.
Okay.
Which was the move that lost us the playoffs, actually, because I ended up benching Kittle. The week that he
hold on. Hold on. So we had Dee's wedding, the Sunday of the playoff game.
Okay.
And prior to that, we'd had Kittle in the lineup, and we'd picked up Dak Prescott because Russell Wilson had been up and down. He'd have monster game, then he'd have shit game, whatever.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we'd had the last thing I saw on, I don't know, Friday or Saturday was Dak starting at quarterback. Because here's the thing about Prescott was we discussed the match. We looked at the matchups for the rest of the season, and we're like, yo, he's got a super favorable schedule. He's got the rest of the NFC East down the stretch. He's gonna, he's gonna eat him up.
Yeah, he's gonna do well.
So I plugged him in, and Kittle was in the lineup, and I didn't discuss with him what my mentality was with Dak. Whatever, fine.
Gotcha.
Next day, helping D get ready for the wedding. When I go to check the lineup, Russell Wilson's back in instead of Dak, and Kittle's out in place of Evan Ingram, which was a reaction to Odell Beckham being hurt. So he thought Ingram was going to get most of Eli's targets.
And
the other move, to his credit, that he made, he took out Washington's defense and put in New Orleans' defense, which ended up paying off because Washington got murdered that week. Gave up like 40 points at the half or some shit like that. And New Orleans' defense did well. But Kittle went off for 27 points. Dak Prescott went off for 33 points. And
Wilson ended up getting like 27 or something.
No.
Yeah, he ended up getting in the mid to high 20s.
No.
At the end of the day, what really killed us was the tight end move because there was like a 22-point, difference. And we ended up losing by like 16 points or something.
Yeah.
So, that was
just bad communication on our part. We should have discussed that. It's the same thing that always happens to us. We tend to like overthink a move. Like we try to get too pretty with it, and then there you go. That's where it goes.
You guys get too cute.
Yeah, we got too fucking cute, and should have just rolled with the guy who Kittle had been pretty much a must start all season. So we should have just rolled with that.
Yeah.
Well, the problem was Kittle had like a 3-game stretch where he didn't crack like double-digit points.
Okay.
So then, Odell's out. Ingram's back from injury. I'm thinking dude's going to have a monster game.
Okay.
And, he's going to end up soaking up a bunch of targets.
And then
didn't end up doing
he
that.
did. Yeah, no, we all have those where you look at the numbers and you kind of look at what should happen during War Games, which is that loser bracket that we had. The guy that I was playing against in the first round had Davis, and he kept him on his bench. But are you actually going to play him in that sense? Like, you're not. And then he goes off for 50 points, and, you could feel bad about it and be like, damn, I should have played him. I just left 50 points on the bench. But in the end, you got to look at it this way. You weren't going to play that guy anyway.
The only, silver lining to this whole thing is that D won the league.
And he got married.
So it's kind of like a wedding present that I really didn't want to give him, but...
So, yeah.
Plex is playing with his little computer. It's a nice computer. What is that? It's an Asus.
Yeah.
It's a Windows computer or a Chromebook?
Windows.
Oh, Windows.
Dude, he's on the top of the list.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So, yeah, he ended up scoring 10 points. And
he scored 10
Dax
points
had
that
33.
week.
Got you.
Yeah.
Oh,
But the Kittle one, I mean, that one sucked. That was a 20-point difference.
Yeah, well...
Either way, Golden Tate put up 1 point. Leonard Fournette put up 4. Coleman put up 4. So it was just one of those things where,
Yeah, it didn't work. It's just, the team shit the bed that week.
And now,
It's just easy. It's just easy to pin it on those 2 moves because you had the points on the bench.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But honestly, considering losing Bell the whole season and losing Fournette for most of the season,
yeah, we made the playoffs.
We made the playoffs.
And at one point, I think about week 10, we were in first place.
Yeah. Well, here's the crazy shit. We were in first place, and we were in last place in points scored for the league.
Yeah.
So we were just winning at the right time. Schedule worked out in our favor.
Gotcha.
So, worked out, man. 7-6 playoffs. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
At least I don't have to wear the dolphin suit
We're
at the draft.
not wearing the dolphin suit at least.
Wait, you guys have to wear a dolphin suit at the draft?
At the draft, you got to wear a dolphin suit. Oof. So...
Well, that's...
Long as I don't ever have to fucking do that, I'll take it.
Nobody wants to be associated with the Dolphins now.
Yo, Jordan Howard went for 100. Yo, he scored the most points he has all season. And it was all... Oh, what a bitch, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it happens.
No, you're right.
But,
I had Jordan Howard in the auction league for all the good that did me.
Yeah, man.
I had Jordan Howard, and who was the other idiot from Denver that...
Royce Freeman.
Oh, Royce Freeman.
Yeah, one of the guys we're going to talk about in a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Oy.
So I think, we should try to start talking about go down quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and whatnot, and talk about who we like that ended up working out, and who we didn't like that burned us, or who we liked that burned us, that type of thing. Where we went right and where we went wrong.
Oh, and then I want you to weigh in on an argument he and I had earlier. That's how we're gonna close it.
All right.
Awesome.
Cool.
So go ahead.
So let's go. Quarterbacks. I had in the draft. I drafted Big Ben and I drafted Jared Goff. I drafted Jared Goff under his advisement because during the podcast we were talking about it, and he was very high on Jared Goff, and I drafted him. I dropped Jared Goff week 4 to pick up Ryan Fitzpatrick during the height of the Fitzmagic era.
Yeah,
that
disaster.
Was a terrible idea.
Yeah,
terrible idea.
Yeah, my problem wasn't you drafting Ben, because I like Ben too. My problem was you drafted him way too high.
Yeah, I drafted him at 9, I think.
Because, for me, in the 8th, 9th round or whatever, I would have rather drafted something else, because Lord knows you needed receivers.
Yeah.
And been happy with the number 8 quarterback.
You're right. I drafted him in the 8th round. Fuck me.
That for me is, maybe a round or two too high to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, no, I get it. In the end, it worked out well for me because he was one of my safer plays for the season. I just kept him in and let him ride. I don't even remember who I played during the week that he was on bye. I think it might have been Fitzmagic, but it might have been somebody else.
I think it was Fitzmagic. I think I remember you texting me that week.
Yeah, I just played Fitzmagic. I don't give a shit.
Because they had an early bye week, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So
wasn't it the week after you picked up Fitzpatrick? Yeah.
In any case, I was okay. I ended up all right with QB. Like I didn't feel burned. I did get a lot of shit for dropping Goff, but in the end, looking back on it, I had Ben Roethlisberger and Jared Goff. Like I wasn't going to hold on to them all season. Basically, holding on to Jared Goff would be playing defense against, and then I'm left every week with who do I play?
Yeah, well, what you could have done is just traded one of the two for.
You're absolutely right.
A receiver,
absolutely right. It could
tight end or
anything else.
Pretty much anything else.
Anything else on my fucking team.
Pretty much, except for defense and kicker, because those were pretty good.
Dude, 2 years in a row had the number 1 defense and kicker.
Winner, chicken dinner!
I am awesome,
Ballin'.
bro. I am the new Rex Ryan. By the way, he's going to be the new UM coach. He will.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
but
Rex Ryan is going to be the UM coach.
Yep.
I think they're actually going to end up keeping Manny Diaz.
Manny Diaz was on campus today.
Yep.
And he's not supposed to be on campus, and he was on campus today.
I think he's going to end up.
There is an out in his contract. I know we've diverged a little bit.
Who's Manny Diaz?
Manny Diaz
was our defensive coordinator.
He's the guy who created the turnover chain. I'm from España, gracias. The turnover chain. So Manny Diaz is the defensive coordinator. He took the job with Temple, but clearly didn't know that Mark Richt was going to quote unquote retire. And so, yeah, he was on campus today, but Rex Ryan is another one that they've been throwing his name around. Anyway, let's keep moving.
So out of quarterbacks that I see here, I like Big Ben. He ended up second.
Mm-hmm.
One guy that I was okay about, surprisingly up, he ended up third in most leagues, Matt Ryan.
Damn.
Which is a guy you could have picked up, 10th,
absolutely.
11th
absolutely.
round.
No, you're right.
You might even pick him up on waiver wires, and he ended up being, top 5 quarterback. Andrew Luck, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson.
Here's the thing with Drew Brees. He kind of fell off towards the end of the season.
Yeah, he had two bad games, but the guy was an MVP candidate.
Well, I think kind of one
the whole way
What
through.
I noticed is kind of when Mark Ingram came back, he ended up they started running the ball a little more.
Yeah.
And his numbers kind of took a little dip, but not that much where, it killed you. But, there's a lot of guys that you could have picked up. Jared Goff, like you said, you picked up late. Phillip Rivers was a top 10 guy.
Man, that boy slings the rock.
I love Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, he's...
Cam Newton took a hit this year. I was pretty high on him. He ended up like 12th.
Yeah, one of the people I was looking to kind of stack was Cam and Christian McCaffrey, and I didn't get either of them, but whatever.
Christian McCaffrey. Well, we'll get there.
Yeah, he was a stud.
Deshaun Watson, we talked about it. I don't remember if we talked about it on the show, but I know he and I had spoken about it, and going back to last year, we talked about it. And I thought Deshaun Watson would have been a good pickup. Yeah, and he actually ended up doing pretty well.
He didn't do bad. He ended up like 7th or 8th in the league.
Damn.
My issue with him was people were talking about him being the number 1 quarterback off the board or the number 2 quarterback. I'm like, I don't think he's going to end up that high. I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed. But like point difference between let's say Ben Roethlisberger, who was number 2, and him was a total of 40 points, 40-something points.
Mm.
Mahomes blew everybody out. He was 100
Yeah, of
points
course.
ahead of Big Ben. So
Well, that's another one.
That none of us saw coming.
That
Yeah.
was the main one that I totally shit the bed on.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what to expect from Mahomes, so I was a little more cautious than a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, just
Nobody expected what he did.
Stupid amount of
Offense?
yards and points and everything. I mean, the guy just ridiculous year.
It's crazy. So one of the things I would be safe to say saying that Mahomes was the one guy none of us saw. And
Nobody saw that dude coming.
I don't know if he works under one of those sleeper titles, like nobody saw him coming in the draft. Like you were just like, there was some stuff maybe, but in any case, he was just one of those guys who if you picked him up and you picked him up as a backup quarterback, he quickly became your starting quarterback, and he was one of those.
Well, in our league, Nika had him, and he had Brady and Mahomes.
Oh wow!
And then so he started shopping Brady.
Okay,
Like-
to no avail because nobody traded.
Nobody could trade.
So yeah, I mean, Tom Brady was kind of a disappointment. He was about the 15th best quarterback.
tell me
in
about it.
our league.
I'm a Gronk owner.
Yeah,
Cousins actually had a worse year than I anticipated. I
Yeah.
thought Cousins would have been a top 7 or 8 quarterback, given Thielen and Diggs and
he
Dalvin
was
Cook.
just under that. He was about number 11 or 12. It was Phillip Rivers, Cousins, Cam Newton, Tom Brady, Mitchell Trubisky.
He had actually a better year
He
than
had a
we
pretty
thought he
good
would.
year,
Yeah, dude, the Bears
bad.
are legit, man.
Dak Prescott wasn't great.
No.
He was all right. He did
No.
have 6 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, here's the thing. You give it to Zeke and let
Yeah.
Zeke do his thing.
But
Then he did get helped by the addition of
Amari Cooper.
of Cooper late in the
Big
season.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield for next season.
He
Baker
was
Mayfield for next
he
season.
was a huge surprise because, I mean, he didn't start the beginning of the year. I don't think he started till week 5 or 6.
Yes.
And he actually ended up as I think, I want to say maybe the 18th best quarterback.
Yeah, man. Coming, not
missing
having
4 or
those
5 games, yeah.
Yeah, not having those plus
That's
the
pretty
bye
damn good.
somewhere.
I mean, yeah, if you think about it, he had a better year than Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton played
Andy Dalton's trash.
many more
The
games.
Red
He had a better year
Rockets.
than Case Keenum. Case Keenum's trash.
Stafford wasn't very good this year.
What a
Carson
fucking
Wentz
bum.
was banged
Yeah,
up.
man.
He was good when he was in, 21 touchdowns, 7 picks, 3,000 yards, but he just wasn't healthy.
Janine Garoppolo went out with a broken labia.
Garoppolo. Poor guy. But,
Alex Smith is done playing football.
yeah.
So is Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe Flacco.
Is he?
All of those guys are going to be in new teams next year. So
Yep.
Marcus Mariota might
No,
be
but
in
Alex
the new
Smith, he got an infection off the surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he might not play football
Dude,
again.
how
period.
crazy is that? That whole Joe Theismann thing was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that same day, 30
Same
years
thing,
later or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Same spot, more or less on the field,
Yep.
same legs, same
Gangster.
the statistics around the defensive player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's just pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think overall in quarterback, we were pretty spot on most things, except, of course, we totally missed on the Mahomes thing.
Yeah, Rivers is always a safe bet, and we always, that's always a guy that we've been pretty high on.
Yeah, I was high on Andrew Luck this year. I was high on Aaron Rodgers, too.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch a lot of Colts games. Did not.
No, but
He played very well.
I mean, I had luck in the auction
Mm-hmm.
league. I had luck in Cam,
Okay.
and I was stubborn for a while, and I kept going to Cam, and then finally I just whatever.
But, yeah, I mean, Goff was a lot higher on the list than I expected. I thought he would be maybe a top 15 guy. He ended up in the top 10.
Where was Russell again?
Russell Wilson was about 9,
Okay.
Okay.
8th, 9th, yeah,
Top
depending
10 guy.
on how your league is structured.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers was at number 10. Goff was sandwiched in between them. Kirk Cousins did a little worse than I thought. Cam Newton did a lot worse than I thought. He was about number 12 in our league. Brady was 13th. So, a couple of guys that I was pretty high on ended up much lower than I thought. The big surprises for me were Matt Ryan at number 3. Breeze did a little better than I thought. I thought he would be maybe 9th or 10th. He ended up 5th. And, that's pretty much it.
And Mahomes, obviously.
And Mahomes, yeah.
All right. Well, that's quarterback.
So let's move on to running backs, where I really pooped the bed this year. Luckily, I was able to pick up Phillip Lindsay off of the waiver wire because everybody else that I picked up was straight trash and or did not play.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where we were. We all had Le'Veon Bell in one league.
Yeah, I had him in 2. Luckily, I was able to pick up Connor in one of those leagues, which was the work league. Ended up saving my team, but yeah, I had Le'Veon Bell in 2 leagues.
Yeah, so I mean, we already kind of discussed in the no trade league what happened at running back with Bell and Fournette. For me, in the auction league, I had Jordan Howard and Royce Freeman, which Royce Freeman was a disaster of a bust, and so was Jordan Howard. Yep. This is so bad. At the end of the season, I mean, I just had Jordan Howard plugged in because I just started running back plugged in. And my other starting running back was Frank Gore. That's where I was at in the auction league. Because in the beginning of the season, right before week 1, I made the disastrous trade of trading Tevin Coleman for Justin Tucker and Jamison Crowder.
Damn.
So I have a boner for Justin Tucker. So I just wanted my kicker.
Okay.
And Jamison Crowder, he was banged up all season. Yeah, everybody else gets to get a homer pick. So
that's true.
So yeah, my like I said, my highest ending RB was Philip Lindsay, and then followed by Marlon Mack at 21, and Jordan Howard at 24, who was the only running back I drafted out of that crew. Then I had Austin Eckler, who I picked up off the waivers.
That wasn't a bad move.
He finished at 28. Yeah, no. It was fine. Latavius Murray, who is a free agent in our league now, who I picked up during the draft, finished at 31. That just goes to show you I was...
not following the draft strategy.
Alex Collins finished at 38.
Yeah, I was pretty high on Alex Collins. I can't.
Yeah, no, and then
hate you too much.
They decided that they didn't want Alex Collins. So, I mean, were any of us surprised? We're not going to talk about Gurley. Like, that's pointless to do.
Gurley, McCaffrey, we were high on. Barkley, we were high on.
We were high on Barkley. We didn't know what he was going to do, though. But he...
Oh, my God. He was fantastic.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon continues to surprise me. Every year, I keep expecting him to just
poop the bed.
I mean, he hurt some people this year. He got banged up right before the playoffs started, right when the playoffs started. So he did hurt some people this year. But, I mean, he had a pretty damn good year.
Are we thinking James Conner is legit or no?
Yes. In that offense, if Big Ben comes back and then they keep those pieces, he's legit. He's a top 10 fantasy running back for the next couple years until Big Ben retires.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, Elliott, we knew was going to be a top guy.
David Johnson
had a bounce back year from the injury he had last year. Kareem Hunt did really well.
Did he really?
To beat his wife.
David Johnson ended 11th in the league.
Really?
Yeah. Bro.
I just felt like no one ever talked about him.
In the auction league, he was 9th because it's a PPR league.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ended up with 900 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, 400 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. So 10 touchdowns and 1,200 all-purpose yards.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, Kareem, can I just say this one thing about Kareem Hunt real quick? Like, all you had to do was pay that girl's fucking Uber and send her home.
Yeah.
This is what this whole thing was about.
Yep.
Crazy part is that he had 14 touchdowns until...
that video came out. Like, you lost millions of dollars because you didn't want to spend $100 to send some girl home.
It probably wasn't even $100. But if it's Uber, it was probably like a $30 cab ride.
Supposedly it was pretty far. Like, that was the whole thing.
It's okay. He could have split it. Uber split. Just not her.
Who cares? You're a millionaire athlete. Send her home, dude. Just fucking pay the fucking Uber.
All right, yeah. Let's not get too deep into.
I know. It's just incredible. Like, I cannot wrap my head around the fact that this dude just gave up millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really dumb.
Over $100 Uber ride.
So, have we decided that the Seattle Seahawks are going to stick with Chris Carson? Like, that is their guy?
I don't know. I mean,
that's another guy he was pretty high on was Rashard Penny.
Penny. He had a couple of good games, and then
here's another guy nobody saw coming was Tariq Cohen.
No, I kind of like Tariq Cohen.
I mean, here's the thing. Everyone thought Jordan Howard was going to be the guy, and then Tariq Cohen. Here's the worst part about this all. I was at the Dolphins game where they benched Jordan Howard for like 2.5. I was going to call it innings. 2.5 quarters. And I'm just sitting there like, please play him. Like, I need points. Like,
against a really bad run defense.
Yeah. And no, Cohen was just going crazy.
Yeah, in a PPR league, Cohen, Cohen did his thing.
Anybody see Nick Chubb getting all the way to 13th?
No. He had a really good year.
Nobody ever sees Browns players being anywhere.
In our league,
I think this is the year where we start giving the Browns guys some respect in the next draft.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. No, you're going to see Baker Mayfield. You're going to see Nick Chubb. Here's the thing. You're
still not going to see anybody at receiver.
No. And Njoku at tight end started coming on strong once Baker Mayfield got comfortable.
Yep. How about Joe Mixon? Where'd Joe Mixon end up?
Joe Mixon ended up about 13th.
Oh, and what's that name right there on the very bottom of your screen?
Derrick Henry.
And where is he in relation to the guy who you kept saying was better than Derrick Henry?
He ended up...
not on page 1.
No, he ended up about 14 or 15 spots ahead of
Deion Lewis. Yeah.
So actually, no, not even. It was about 10 spots ahead of Deion Lewis. But to my defense, it was in the last 3 games of the season. This last 3 games where he put up in 2 games. He matched his total for the entire season.
He did.
So if you're sitting on him,
he did it Lamar Miller.
So if you're sitting on him between weeks 1 and 10, either you dropped him because he was pure trash,
all right,
or you got lucky like D did. D rode him right in the playoffs. You got lucky where you happened to pick up Phillip Lindsay or a couple of guys off the waiver wire and stashed him on your bench and then played him at the right spot. But throughout the year, he was hot garbage.
True.
Until week 11 or 12 where he blew up.
But you see now his capability.
Yeah, his capability is not the problem. The problem is he wasn't doing anything for...
But neither was Deion Lewis.
Of the season.
We looked at it together. Deion Lewis wasn't outscoring him by all that much.
He was outscoring him by
Here's the thing.
a lot.
Outside of the top 10 guys.
A lot.
Outside of top 10 guys, it was a tale of 2 different seasons. Because at the beginning of the season, let's take the Patriots, for example. At the beginning of the season, who was it all about? It's all about James White. James White could do no wrong. He was catching balls out of the backfield. He was running like a madman. He was doing crazy things. At the end of the season, who ended up higher than James White? Sony Michel. Like, you had 2, but when it comes to a certain level of player, the whole season you could ride them out. The other ones, it's a tale of 2 seasons,
but
man.
you don't give up on a 7-foot tall, 290-ton running back like Derrick Henry's an orc.
Dude, listen,
bro, it doesn't matter how big they are.
He did not rush for more than 58 yards in a game until week 13.
Bro,
right.
See?
Week 13, where he had 4 bleeping touchdowns.
4 bleeping touchdowns.
Okay, he scored 4 touchdowns the entire season before that.
Yeah.
Didn't rush for more than 58 yards in a game until week 13. Trash, dude. I'm sorry. I'm not spending a pick on that.
Okay.
If you want to look at Deion Lewis, I'll show you Deion Lewis. How many more yards and plays he had?
517 total yards.
Okay. Before that, he also had a lot of receiving yards. Because that's just showing you rushing yards. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3. 3 games before week 13 where he rushed for more than 58 yards. Okay. And he caught 66 yards in one game, 35 in another, 64. So here, 91 rushing yards, 64 receiving yards. I'll take that all day.
That's one game.
Okay, 62 rushing yards, 60 receiving yards. That's 120 yards.
Okay.
Yeah, Derrick Henry wasn't doing that. You know what he was giving you? 45 yards.
All right. But my question was Deion Lewis that much better that he was an automatic start over Derrick Henry? No.
In the beginning of the season, yes, absolutely. He had a 9 reception game.
All right, but we're not in a PPR league.
The auction league's PPR, guy.
Right, but not the other one. We weren't discussing what you should do in the fucking PPR league. I don't give a shit who you draft. If I wanted a Derrick Henry, I would have drafted Derrick Henry. I was talking about the league that we're in,
bro,
where the decision was, should we draft Derrick Henry?
Well, you still get yards for receiving yards, and the dude ended up with multiple games with 60-plus receiving yards.
Okay, fine. Overall,
Yes.
he wasn't that much better. In the beginning of the season, he was.
It
Overall, he wasn't that much
depends.
better.
It depends on how your team was structured. If you're Donald and you stashed Derrick Henry on your bench and played him in the playoffs,
us and we needed a running back to replace Kerryon Johnson, Leonard Fournette, and Le'Veon Bell
Yes.
in the playoffs.
yes.
Okay.
But if you're us and we had Derrick Henry, guess what? We're probably not making the playoffs.
Well, we probably wouldn't have played him if we would have had Kerryon.
Wow.
If we would have drafted Derrick Henry instead of Marlon Mack, we probably would have dropped him.
Yo, D.D.
Yeah,
Westbrook went all season without being drafted in my league or picked up off the waiver wires.
Who?
Yeah.
D.D. Westbrook? Oh, he ended up 25th in wide receivers. Speaking of which, let's get to the wide receivers. So,
Wait, just really quick, a couple of guys I want to talk about running back that did pretty well. Adrian Peterson did much better than I thought. Ended up with 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. He was about 18th, 19th, 20th, around there, depending on how your league is structured. Okay. Chris Carlson's another guy, even though he had to split carries. Aaron Jones, even though he missed a couple of games.
Can I give a little
love? Ended up pretty high.
Little love, real quick, to T.J. Yeldon, because when Fournette was out, we rode T.J. Yeldon to a number of wins.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, he's not a great running back by any stretch of the imagination. But just because
in a pinch, he did great for us.
He did he was reliable for 8-9 points a week. So much love, T.J. Yeldon. If I'm gonna shit on all these guys who were bums, I gotta give love to the guy who bailed us out of a couple of gems.
Yeah, see, in our league, and I have the auction league points up. In the auction league points, James White was way higher than Sony Michel.
Okay.
Because he had 83 receptions, 700 yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns.
That's the thing. And that in the beginning of the season, that's what James White was doing. He was getting tons and tons of receptions. And people were like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. Brady's got a guy he trusts.
Yeah. But this is almost, to me, this is almost the same thing. I mean, his year was way better than Deion Lewis. But this, to me, was almost a similar... Sony Michel ended up recently running the ball well and playing well and outplaying James White.
Yep.
But if you look at the numbers, you look at the catches, you look at the way he was used at the beginning of the season, James White was the better running back.
Oh, absolutely. We agree on that. I'm just telling you that when we have to look back on the season, when we close the book on the season, we look back at it and it was the tale of two seasons. It's way. Really
but I mean, that's most football seasons.
Yeah.
And really quick, so the one guy that I have to apologize for, I wasn't very high on him. I didn't think he would produce the way he did last year, was Alvin Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was fucking disgusting.
Yeah. He vehemently said, there's no way Alvin Kamara repeats what he did the year before.
Yeah, I totally missed that one. 14 rushing touchdowns, another 4 receiving. Had 800 rushing yards and 700 receiving yards on 81 catches. So, yeah, I mean, he was just...
And that's that. Didn't he also slow down a little bit once Ingram came back? I mean, a little bit.
He had 2 or 3 games where he kind of, you know.
But is Ingram going to be there next year? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I think he's a free agent, yeah. So, I don't know if they're keeping him.
Okay. All right.
You sound weird.
I do?
Yeah.
You sound weird. Fuck you.
Okay, there you go.
There we go.
So, yeah, I mean, I think pretty much, you know, we were all right on a lot of these guys. I was a little high in Kenyon Drake. He ended up, you know, like
never
15th or something. Yeah,
backs.
don't draft Dolphin anything.
Unless you can draft punter.
Yeah.
Somehow every
field
season
goal kicker was actually pretty good this year.
they have really good punters. Yeah, special teams works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Special teams is not going to save Adam Gase's job this week, though.
No, it won't. I was pretty high on
You think he's
Alex
gonna get
Collins. He ended up. I think so.
Nice.
I think so.
Bro.
They lost today? I don't
Dude,
know.
No, they got
I didn't watch any
42-14
football.
or something.
To the Bills.
Oh, nice.
That's actually, I'm glad because now we have a slightly higher draft pick, so that actually works out for us. But Leonard Fournette obviously ended up way lower than I thought. Mark Ingram ended up pretty low. Kerryon Johnson didn't do too bad considering the injury.
But Fournette's per game average for his
when he
starts,
played, he was fine. Yeah.
it was just a matter of his, injury situation or his behavior situation.
I was pretty high on Howard Jordan. He ended up pretty low.
Jordan Howard?
Jordan Howard, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, thanks.
Dalvin Cook.
I remember the huge scramble
something
that these guys had in our league about who's going to draft Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they picked him up because he was going to end up being our first round pick if he was sitting there at 5, which he wasn't, thank God. And we picked up DeAndre Hopkins, who was a monster.
Yep.
But just a couple of guys that I was pretty high on that ended up kind of burning me.
Let's skip ahead a little bit before we get to receiver. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have a conundrum, right? We're going to have Bell, Fournette, Kerryon Johnson, and DeAndre Hopkins.
And Aaron Jones.
All of whom you could make an argument for could be keepers. What would you keep?
Hopkins.
This is not a PPR league, just so that we're clear.
Okay.
Still Hopkins?
No. Fudge. That's tough. That's a tough one. But you're asking the guy who went 2-10.
Right.
I
think one of the things that is dependent is where Bell goes.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
If he goes to the Dolphins, drop him.
No, I will fucking trade him for a peanut.
Yeah.
But he said something interesting about maybe being interested in the Colts. I think that would be a fantastic offense for him to go to.
Watching what Marlon Mack was able to do, and then you put Le'Veon Bell there.
Jesus Christ.
I would have said prior to the Alex Smith situation, I would have said maybe Redskins would have been a good landing spot for him. But with
you put him there with Peterson as a backup, as a third down back. Oh,
but
you also got Thompson there.
Yeah, well, Thompson's another one who is just hurt too often. He's just too small.
Yeah,
I mean, Tariq Cohen's not that big a guy, but somehow he's managed to escape the injury bug. Mm-hmm. Thompson, every year it's 5, 6, 7, 8 games. So I would have thought that would have been a good landing spot for him originally, but now Colt McCoy and fucking Mark Sanchez.
Yeah,
that's a disaster. And from what I've been told, it's not going to be a quarterback heavy draft.
No, the draft this year is not looking very good for quarterback. There's maybe 2 guys worthy of a first round pick. Everybody else is kind of meh.
Yeah, because Maui's not coming out, right?
Yeah, and I don't want this little dude from Oklahoma.
He's going to play baseball, I think.
So.
Oh, cool. Maybe he can go to the Yankees.
No, he got drafted by the A's.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Yeah,
wait. The guy who won the Heisman Trophy is going to go play baseball?
Yeah.
That's dope.
It's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, why go get your fucking head smashed in?
Yeah.
First of all, he's tiny. We were
play a dying sport that's
he's
boring and
5'10", 190 pounds. We
were at the game yesterday, and the dude is tiny.
We all saw your Instagram story where
I don't think we all saw it.
I didn't know who was in the Orange Bowl game because I'm too bougie. Well, I went with who'd you go with? I went with Mike from Live. Ooh, D-Wade.
Really? Are you of all people are not the one that's gonna talk shit about being bougie, right?
No, I'm not bougie at all.
No, nada más. How many times have you gone to fucking Disney, scumbag?
Disney's not bougie.
What privilege?
Cocksucker. You guys go to Disney more often. You've got more than we've recorded episodes of the podcast this year.
Getting sidetracked.
That is an absolute truth.
Fucking dirtbag. Get the fuck out of here.
That's an absolute truth. I've gone to Disney more. I've done a lot this year. Thank you for asking. Let's talk about... No, I'm kidding. Anyway.
All right. So receivers.
Okay. So we ended up...
Wait, you never answered the question. Who would you keep?
Okay. Who would I keep?
Bell, Fournette, Kerryon Johnson, Hopkins, or Aaron Jones?
Honestly, I do Bell and Hopkins. Why? Because Fournette keeps getting injured. Kerryon, Kerryon's got a huge upside.
Huge.
Right? He does. He has huge upside, especially in that. And it's always nice to pick a running back who you know is going to be like the only guy to get that ball, right?
Yeah.
It's just he was injured a little bit. Like, I don't know. And then again, I'm not going to trust Fournette.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to trust him. This is the second year in a row that he's been injured. Like, he's had some kind of injury bug, some stupid bug, right? Like, nah, man.
But damn, when he plays, he is.
Yeah, I get it. Electric. But no.
And if these guys finally give up on Blake Bortles and get somebody in there.
Yeah, draft a young quarterback. The best thing he can have is a big running back behind him. Ezekiel Elliott.
And if Plex was right, Kirk Cousins would have been the number 1 quarterback this year, right? Like, but, if these things happen, you need to go with what you have, the actual hard facts of what you have right now, right? Yeah, I'll turn my mic. Here you go. So the hard facts are, you know what you're getting in Hopkins, right? You know exactly what you're going to get. So you go with the safe bet. That's a safe bet.
Yeah.
All right? And you know what you're going to get in Bell. He sat out all year long, so he's rested. The guy's...
it depends on where he goes.
Look what Ricky Williams...
Because if he goes to the fucking Jets or the Dolphins or any number of teams...
Buffalo or... Yeah. Some team like that.
So then I would wait.
How about this? Now that Kareem Hunt's gone...
What if he goes to the
Oh my God!
Kansas City.
We're definitely keeping him.
Oh
in
my
Kansas City.
Lord!
Kareem Hunt, even though he missed a couple of games, had 14 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon, please go to Kansas City.
Le'Veon in Kansas City, that's a keep right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Andy Reid, calling his shots.
I feel totally shitty for trading him away because now the guy who got Le'Veon Bell, he now has a keeper problem like you. His 3 keepers that he's got to figure out are Le'Veon Bell, Alvin Kamara, and James Conner.
Yeah, I'd keep Kamara.
Yeah,
if Bell goes to the Chiefs, you keep Kamara and Bell.
Yeah.
James Conner's great.
If he goes to the Colts, you keep Bell. But
I mean, I guess that depends on what happens in the Pittsburgh situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So
receivers.
Let's
do receivers, tight ends together, and
okay. All right.
We'll wrap it up.
Receivers, we were pretty high on a lot of guys. Antonio Brown ended up number 2. DeAndre Hopkins.
Again, this is based off the PPR.
Yeah,
right?
PPR league. Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen, Julio Jones.
Who saw Adam Thielen?
Oh, we did.
Yeah. We talked about Adam.
We talked about Adam Thielen.
He was in my top. I want to say top 12.
Quick little thing about the fucking no trade league here. So I don't know, week 7, 8, somewhere thereabouts, maybe later. We put up a trade to the guy who was in last place, which is Nika, and he had Adam Thielen. Mm-hmm. So we offered him Le'Veon Bell for him to stash as a keeper for next year, and Adam Thielen. We were struggling at receiver 2. We talked about that, right?
Yeah, it was Adam Thielen and something else.
No, well, the last iteration of the trade was just a 1-for-1.
Okay,
and it got vetoed in 4 minutes.
It's fucking ridiculous, bro.
I have the fucking email, the first one from when it says he accepted it, and 4 minutes later, these schmucks vetoed the trade. And here's like the beauty of it is that shit was happening all season to everybody, but we didn't veto. I don't remember clicking that button on any trade. I think there was one.
I vetoed 1 or 2 that were a little weird looking.
But that was it. For the most part, like I personally couldn't have given a shit. And these people it didn't matter. It was like an automatic thing. They were just pressing. There were 2 guys who told me they didn't even look at it. They just pressed the veto button.
But why?
Because in the beginning of the season, prior to the season starting, we had actually. Let me start over. Last year at the draft, we discussed the trading of keepers for draft picks.
Okay.
So let's say you had 3 guys that you really liked as a keeper. You can only keep 2. You'd trade one guy so that the other guy would be able to keep him, and he'd give you one of his picks.
Okay.
Right? I mean, fucking.
I understand this.
Perfectly normal.
Yes.
We discussed that at the draft. One of the guys in the league pretended that he did not remember this, so he vetoed what was a perfectly legitimate trade. That pissed off the 2 participants in the trade, which then had them vetoing everybody else's fucking... Actually, there were 2 people who pretended they did not remember this rule being established. So the 2 participants in the trade then decided to veto trades involving those other 2 guys, and then that shit just snowballed, and then all of a sudden nobody could get any fucking trades done because these people are children.
Let me tell you right now that you need to kill that league.
Well, no. This is what I proposed to them after our trade got vetoed in fucking 4 minutes. I said, why don't we do... Because this is what happened. We made a trade a few years ago that pissed everybody off was the Brady McFadden trade. Yeah. So, at the time, Mo, who's currently the commissioner...
There's your problem now. You've got a guy who eats possums as your commissioner.
Well, he was just in charge of approving trades. And he approved it. And everybody else complained. So, then he changed the ruling to make it...
So, he made it a vote by committee.
He made it by vote by everybody.
Yeah.
So, what I proposed is just... Every year at the draft, we draw 3 names out of a hat, and that's the trade committee.
Okay.
And then it's majority rule. It doesn't even have to be unanimous. If 2 people approve the trade, it goes through. If 2 people decline the trade, it doesn't go through. And that's it.
Okay.
And if you just happen to be 2 of the people are involved in the fucking trade and the 2 people are on the committee, well, fuck it.
And what happens if there's a tie?
You can't have a tie.
There's no tie.
I was going to try to catch you. That's me just being dumb.
Sorry. So let's talk about receivers.
Okay.
So... we had a little issue at receiver. A couple of guys that I thought were going to be great. Golden Tate, Doug Baldwin, who kind of this year.
No, he was more than man. He was he was out disappointment.
Yeah, he was shit.
Especially coming off the year that he'd had the last 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
that was our whole argument.
But a couple of the guys that I was high on. One of the guys I drafted on my league, the one that I won was Devontae Adams. He ended up in our auction league in first place. 13 touchdowns, 1,300 yards, 111 receptions.
If Aaron Rodgers throws you the ball, you get drafted.
Yeah, in our league, it's a standard league. He ended in 3rd. So in the standard league, you had Tyreek Hill, Antonio Brown, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, and Julio Jones.
Tyreek Hill is another guy who...
By the way, I want to give a big shout out to Julio Jones. I get to keep my pinky toe because of him.
Remember?
Oh my God!
He scored 7 touchdowns this year, which was more than double what he scored last year.
You were sweating that shit though.
Oh my God!
By week 7,
he had no touchdowns by week 7, and then scored like 6 out of the next 7 games. Scored a touchdown or something. So
he didn't.
Sir.
Not even that. He didn't have a touchdown until week 9.
Oh God! Thank you, Julio.
And then
I appreciate.
He had He had 1 touchdown, 1 touchdown, 1 touchdown, 0 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns week 12 and 13. Week 14, 2 touchdowns, and then the rest 1 touchdown each game.
Thank you, Julio. But, he had a great year. I thought he was going to have a great year. The one, obviously, in the top, 5 in the league that I wasn't too thrilled about was T. Hill.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was tied into Mahomes. I didn't know what Mahomes was going to do, and I didn't think Tyreek Hill would put up the freaking...
Yeah, it was kind of the same argument you made with Camaro, where you didn't think he was going to duplicate.
I didn't think he was going to repeat what he did. And, when you're a receiver, you depend 100% on your
QB.
Yeah.
But when you're like the fastest guy in the league, you gotta get love.
Well, and not only that, I mean, the offense is just so creative. It's the way they get the ball in his hands and everybody else's hands. It's just
I can't wait till they lose in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, right, to the fucking Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore's crazy defense. The Chiefs. They have the number 1 defense in the league.
Baltimore's not beating the Chiefs.
They're fucking crushing people.
Yeah, but I don't think so. I gotta apologize to Michael Thomas. Internally speaking, I never really said it out loud, but I had Marcus Colston a bunch of years, so I got burned by Saints receivers.
Jesus.
What about Tegan?
Yeah. So
I drafted Traquan Smith late in the season.
Michael Thomas. That was another trade that we offered 1-for-1 Bell for Thomas. That didn't even.
That got offered to me week 1. Bell for Thomas. And I was like, nah, I don't know how Michael Thomas is going to do. Instead, though, I turned that trade. I kept denying it throughout the season. And then halfway through the season, same guy offered me Hopkins and Diggs for Bell. And
that's
I was like,
great.
That's
better.
That was a good move.
Yeah, exactly.
Juju, the man.
Yeah, Juju did great.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Mike Evans did a lot better than...
Yeah, he did. He had 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns. I mean, obviously, a lot of that helps with the Fitzmagic.
Yeah, with the Fitzmagic weeks.
Yeah. Robert Woods was a huge surprise.
Yep.
I mean, I don't even know if we talked about Robert Woods.
I drafted Robert Woods, by the way.
Yeah, and then you dropped him.
No, I traded. He was part of the trade. He was part of the trade. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he did fantastic.
T.Y.
I didn't see that.
Just goes to show you how good Andrew Luck was this season.
T.Y. did well. Odell Beckham did all right until he got injured.
Into his feelings.
Stephon Diggs didn't do bad.
Hey, are we going to talk about Keenan Allen?
We're going to talk about Keenan Allen.
That's the debate you're going to settle.
That's the debate that you're going to settle.
All right, let's go.
Keenan Allen ended up
2 spots over
14.
Odell Beckham.
Yeah, he ended up at 1,193 catches, 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, in Standard League, he ended 14th, right behind Odell.
Okay, awesome. So this was the conversation where he and I got into it, right? Because my argument from Keenan Allen, if you remember, was that
you keep getting burned by him, and
he burns you. Uh-huh. And what did he do in your playoff game? A whopping 4 points?
0 points.
Oh, 0 points.
Oh, against Kansas City?
Yeah. It was the game that he dove in the back of the end zone, landed awkwardly, was out for the game. But my argument was this. He was extremely consistent throughout the year.
He was. Absolutely.
Without him, I probably don't even make the playoffs, because in that league, I think I was in 5th or 6th place when I made the playoffs.
That's my statement. My statement there is: did Keenan Allen?
Absolutely.
So hold on. So here's where he threw back at me was, what did Odell Beckham do for you? And Odell Beckham, what'd you say he ended up at?
In a Standard League, not a PPR league,
right.
He ended at 13th. And here's the thing. Odell Beckham wouldn't have given you anything during the playoffs because
he got hurt too.
He got hurt too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. But here's the thing: Keenan Allen had 1 week of being hurt. Odell Beckham is on week 4.
But my argument was about his history. So then, while we were having the debate, I pulled up their games played record over the last 5 years.
Played. I want about games this season.
But when we talked about this prior to the fucking season, we had no idea how many games they were going to play this season. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about who is he going to burn you, and is he going to be on the field when you need him, right? Mm-hmm. So he's missed almost an entire season's worth of games more than Odell has, and he could have had Odell as opposed to Keenan Allen, and it wouldn't have impacted his team.
I think in his position
that much.
I think in his position, having Keenan Allen was better. And I'll tell you this now, right? Look, over the course of the season, Odell, and he still has 1 game to play tomorrow. No,
he's done. He finished.
Oh, yeah?
He didn't play this week.
Okay. So Odell in a Standard League had 157 points. Keenan Allen had 156. Odell didn't play 3 games. So you're talking about he had games where he was scoring more points, right? However, Had Plex had Odell on his team, he would have been fucked in the beginning of the playoffs or right into the end, like getting into the playoffs.
Which is exactly what happened anyways.
Exactly.
But the outcome would have been the same.
Yep.
Now, that's in a standard league. In the PPR league, which is the one that we're talking about, which is the one that I had Keenan Allen in, he ended up 13 points ahead of Odell Beckham.
Sorry.
He ended up with 93 catches to Odell Beckham 77, the same amount of touchdowns, and a couple of yards more than him. But my
We're looking at Stat Guy Plex.
My argument was this. He got me to where I needed to get, which was in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Once he got in the playoffs, he got hurt. It's unfortunate it happened.
But when you needed him, he burned you.
So
Odell Beckham would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
That was my argument.
Right, but there's 100 fucking receivers in the league. Odell Beckham's not the only receiver you could have drafted over Keenan Allen. Yeah. You just threw Odell Beckham in my face because that's who I had. Mm-hmm. So you could have drafted. You could have drafted Mike Evans or Juju or Adam Thielen or Michael Thomas or any of those other guys, and you wouldn't have been fucked in your last playoff game.
I could have, except all those guys, I think, went for more money than I paid for Keenan Allen.
Okay,
so then I would have to spend more money to get some of those guys. You know, I could have gotten T.Y. Hilton, who ended up under Keenan Allen in points, or Cooks.
Yeah, so there you go. But you could have gotten a lot of dudes. Okay, and Keenan Allen, you got him, and then he burned you when you needed him.
He did fantastic for me until that one game.
Yep.
It just so happened to be that one game.
Sorry, buddy. I'm going on the Keenan Allen train.
Had it been the game before, because he came back the week after. Mm-hmm. Had it been the game before that it wasn't a playoff game and he would have burned me then, it wouldn't have fucking mattered.
Nope.
It just so happened to be that 1 week that he got injured.
Yep.
He did great for me. I am glad. I will draft him again next year.
Okay.
I have no problem with Keenan Allen.
I mean, he's getting old.
And then when he lacerates his fucking Rainus
next
year.
You know what?
We'll revisit the conversation.
I'll take another playoff run.
Yeah,
I'll take another playoff run with him.
Okay.
Where have your receivers gotten you in the auction league?
He's had a season. He's had 2 different seasons where he's missed more than 10 games. Okay, 2 of them, not one. Okay, 2 of them.
And guess what? I didn't have him any of those 2 seasons.
Okay, all right.
I have him the season where he did fantastic for me until he got injured that one game.
Okay, awesome.
All right, cool.
So would you say drafting him was right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So let's go. Stephon Diggs defined.
Yeah.
T.Y. Hilton. Tyler Boyd, I think, was another big.
Yeah, that was another
surprise.
one where everyone was like Calvin Ridley too. Calvin Ridley was.
Calvin Ridley scored 10 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
As a rookie.
Fix your mic.
Calvin Ridley scored 10 touchdowns this year.
Or put it on the fucking table and lean over and talk into it.
No, I don't want to. I like sitting back.
Yeah, Calvin really did great. Julian Edelman did really good.
Yeah, man.
He missed the first 4 games of the season.
What's his face? Hogan.
Who?
Oh, 24/7.
Oh, yeah. He was one of our burns. Yeah, I liked him a lot, thinking, obviously Julian Edelman was going to be out for a while. This guy was going to be his number 1 target. Yep. Who thought they were going to freaking trade for Gordon? Anybody that thought that he was going to make it sober through the rest of the year is a moron. I thought he could do it. I was really pushing for it. Rest my case. So, Golden Tate actually ended up 25th in our league, in the auction league.
Okay.
So, he wasn't horrible. As a number 2 receiver, it kind of hurts, but as a 3 or 4 guy, he wasn't
in a
bad.
standard league. Golden Tate ended 31st.
Yeah. So again, if he's your 3rd receiver, he's a top, almost a top 30 guy.
Yeah. In a 10-team league, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not. Dalvin Cook. Sorry, not Dalvin Cook. Brandon Cooks ended up really well. Tyler Lockett actually ended up in the top 20.
Jarvis Landry shook off the Dolphin shit.
Not really. If you look at his numbers, he kind of put up exactly what he did with the Dolphins. 76 catches, 800 yards, and 3 touchdowns the whole season. Yeah, exactly. And the crazy part is that he's playing there, putting up those same numbers, but he's getting paid $14 million a year to do it. Wow. So I would say, Well,
we'll see what happens now with a full year of Baker.
Yeah,
you're right.
I don't disagree, but at the end of the day, you're paying a guy that much money to catch 3 touchdowns for the year. No thanks.
Yeah.
We complained about him doing that here for $1 million. So Emmanuel Sanders did really well until he ended up on the IR.
What happened? What was his injury?
I don't know if it was a knee, but he ended up on the IR. I want to say like week
Cooper Kupp.
11 or 12.
Oh, that's another one that we fucking.
That one hurt. But see, the thing is, it was an injury. I mean, he
No,
played
no.
really well until the injury.
What I was trying to say was we didn't capitalize on him.
Yeah.
We had him on our bench, and when we finally decided to trust him and play him, boom, he gets hurt. So that's not on him. That one's on us.
He's actually a free agent in my league, and I'm
he's not a keeper, man.
Yeah, come on.
No, he's not a keeper.
No.
Fuck me. All right, not over Hopkins or
Not
Diggs.
over Hopkins or Bell. Oh no, you don't have Bell
I don't
anymore.
have Bell anymore.
Who was it? Hopkins or who? Thielen? No. Yeah.
Diggs.
Diggs. Yeah, I would keep both of those guys over him.
Yeah.
But he still did pretty well until he ended up banged up.
Yeah.
Who else did we talk about that ended up?
Allen Robinson.
AJ Green. Allen Robinson. I told you about Allen Robinson though.
Yeah.
He had a couple of good games, but Trubisky's just he's a good quarterback. He's just not a guy that's going to put up gaudy numbers. He's not a guy that's going to go throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns in a game. He's done it once or twice, but it's not a consistent thing. They're a heavy defense, run the ball, just do just enough to win a 20-17 game. You know?
I thought Demaryius Thomas's numbers would improve once he got to Houston and he had Deshaun Watson throwing on the ball. That didn't seem to pan out.
Nope.
No,
Did not at all.
John Brown, another guy who just...
Yeah, we were pretty high on John Brown. We heard a lot of the connection between him and Flacco.
And it paid off like the first 3 weeks of the season, and then the guy forgot how to play football.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was him. I think it was more Flacco, and then
No, but he had a couple of big drops. I remember I watched that one game. I remember what the opponent was, but he dropped like 2 touchdowns that would have fucking won us that week. Actually, thanks, John.
Another guy here. We talked about Larry Fitzgerald. He ended up a lot lower than I thought. I really like Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, who doesn't? But
Alshon Jeffrey's trash.
Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, he didn't do bad for. If you look at his numbers, he missed the first, I think, 5-6 games of the season because he was banged up, which is his MO. But once he actually started, he didn't play bad.
Robbie Anderson had like a 3-week stretch where he was like the best receiver in football.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
I felt terrible that I had dropped him, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
He did the same thing last year.
Deshaun Jackson wants
Green-
out of fucking Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Really?
He was actually talking about going back to the Eagles, which would be pretty interesting.
The Eagles?
Yeah. AJ Green burned a lot of people this year.
Oh, yeah.
He got banged up.
I don't even know who plays receiver in Buffalo, so we can just skip that.
Yeah. Well, they have a guy there really interesting. Robert Foster is a guy to keep an eye on.
I'm gonna murder
for
you
the
if you
future.
don't mute your fucking phone.
Doug Baldwin was a huge disappointment. Cooper Kupp got injured, unfortunately. Zay Jones is another Buffalo receiver that didn't do terrible. Cortland Sutton is a guy I think for next year, the new Denver receiver taking over for Demaryius Thomas.
Just chilling on my bench.
Oh yeah,
man, he didn't,
I hadn't even heard of that guy. So that's news.
he didn't do bad once they got rid of Demaryius Thomas. I mean, Keenan didn't have that great of a year.
Yeah,
but, whatever. Kenny Stills was a huge disappointment for anybody that drafted him.
I did.
Danny Amendola was a huge disappointment. Pretty much anybody on the Dolphins.
Well, I mean, you guys had the problem with that was Brock Osweiler was the one throwing the ball.
Jesus Christ. What was going on there?
Well, listen, the 2 most dysfunctional franchises in football are the Dolphins and the Redskins because both those teams had.
I'd have the Jets in
know.
there.
Dude, the fucking.
Have you seen the Raiders? They are fucking a hot mess.
But the Raiders are a hot mess now this season, right? 2 years ago, we weren't talking about when Derek Carr was balling and shit. Mm-hmm. We weren't talking about the Raiders being a hot mess. Both these teams had an opportunity to pick up Colin Kaepernick
and didn't,
and went with Brock Osweiler, Mark Sanchez. Like I just want to.
Okay, honestly, which one's worse?
Oh, Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Oh no, I trust me.
I mean, Brock Osweiler is bad, dude, and I can't wait till he's never a Dolphin again. But
at least he'd been in the league last year. Mark Sanchez hadn't thrown a football professionally since before Santino was born.
Since butt fumble.
Okay, my son was not in the world when Mark Sanchez last threw a professional football.
I may have bought a ticket and sniped him at the game if he would have been playing for the Dolphins.
Him up, okay, and threw him on the field on the argument that he knows the system better. Dude, I don't give a shit if Colin Kaepernick was illiterate. Put him on the goddamn field because you automatically, just based on his athleticism have a
you're
better
gonna get-
chance
Yeah, you're going to get a better play.
of getting better results than Mark fucking Sanchez.
Yeah,
I don't understand how that works. I mean, I understand how it works, but it's so fucking ridiculous. I mean, just
yeah, no, it's terrible.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
and anybody who wants to make an argument that it wasn't collusion,
I don't
can
think
eat a
anybody's
dick.
doing any of that right now.
No, not now, but in the world, sir.
Just a few quick names.
Josh Dotson bust.
Yeah, we talked about
Drafted
Hogan,
him.
Dotson. Will Fuller got injured again. Marvin Jones Jr. from Detroit ended up being a bust because Kenny Galladay
Man, I wanted
just
Galladay
fucking
really bad.
tore it up.
Who was that receiver for you guys that was doing pretty well? And then he got
Albert
hurt?
Wilson.
Yeah.
He was doing very well. Had
Yep.
4 touchdowns. The first 5 games of the season, threw for 1.
He's fast as shit too.
Fast
right?
as shit, elusive, breaks tackles. He was playing excellent, and then he got injured, and yeah, our whole passing game kind of started crumbling. We had 3 receivers. 3 out of our 5 receivers were injured at one point. It was just bad.
Yeah.
But let me see who else. The Williams brothers and they were kind of up and down. If you had one, the other one had a good week, and then if you played the other one had a good week. So DJ Moore's a guy to look for in the future. He's he was the number 2 receiver in.
I thought
Carolina.
Taylor Gabriel would I don't know, be useful at some point.
Really?
The guy's pretty fast,
Yeah, but
and he's never panned out.
I mean, you add him there with Traquan Smith and these guys. They're all really fast. They're all but they all can't be the guy.
No, he doesn't have to be the guy, but you figure a slot guy, the way Jamison Crowder was for the Redskins 2 years ago, 700-800 yards, handful of touchdowns. That's not a bad season for a number 4 receiver, and he just hasn't been able to. That's what I was.
So who's your? Well, we'll talk about that later. Let's go to tight end then, really quick. This is where another part where I think you kind of fucked up your draft. We talk about it all the time. I like to draft tight ends later.
Yeah.
You went with Gronk, who was probably the number 2 or 3 best tight end going into the draft in most rankings. I don't like wasting a second-round pick on a tight end ever.
He was the best player on the board at that point. At that point, he was the best player on the board.
I'm sure,
given ADP and everything else, right?
I'm sure if
In
you
hindsight,
look at
no.
that board, you could have. I would have probably.
I'll tell you right now, Travis Kelce drafted in the 3rd round.
Yeah, exactly. And he was the number 1 tight end. Yeah, I mean that kind of proves my point.
No,
Zach Ertz, the number 2 tight end, drafted in.
Yeah, you just said you drafted Gronk too.
Yeah.
I drafted him in the 2nd round.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So you could have got Kelsey in the 3rd round.
Zach Ertz was drafted in the 4th.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So
proving my point.
2 rounds later,
And then
George Kittle drafted in the 12th.
that's exactly what I'm saying. Eric Ebron, Gerard Cook, Austin.
Eric
Hooper.
Ebron, by the way, super bounce back year for that guy.
Yeah, 15th round. Ebronix was in
That guy was in the fucking scrap heap.
in it to win it.
Gerard Cooks from Oakland ended up with freaking 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. He was the number 5 or 6. tight
Added
end.
from waiver wires. Nobody
Austin
drafted
Hooper.
him.
Trey Burton.
I have
also-
Austin Hooper right now.
Trey Burton had a good year.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. 50 catches, pretty much 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. It
So here we
wasn't
go.
terrible.
Let me tell you this. In a standard league, right? In a standard league,
All of them, by the way, ended up ahead of Gronk.
yeah. So in a standard league, Gronk ended at number 10. Austin Hooper at number 9. I had both of them. But here's the real telling story for tight ends this year. Number 5 in a standard league was Jared Cook, right? Number 6 was Trey Burton. The difference in points between them. Jared Cook had 122 points, and and Trey Burton had 89 points. You're talking about
A huge fall off.
Huge fall off.
It's a huge fall off, but if you look at when some of these guys are drafted, Kittle, Eric Ebron, Cooks, these guys are either not getting drafted or getting drafted in the 9th, 10th,
No,
12th,
you're right.
13th
You're absolutely
round.
right.
That 2nd round pick needs to be a top quality running back or receiver.
Wide receiver.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Listen, I said it at the top of the show. My draft sucked this year,
Yeah,
and
that was
my
rough.
play showed for it. But hey, at least I'm not paying for the 3rd place's entrance fee.
You're winning.
And you know what else? Another guy that just needs to get thrown to the scrap heap like Eric Ebron was last year, Jordan Reed.
Yeah,
That guy just needs to never be
Yes.
drafted by anybody.
ended
else.
16th in the league.
I'm surprised. What?
Yeah.
16th?
Yep.
That's a miracle.
He had
Yeah.
65 points. No, listen, tight ends suck this year.
Yeah, no, they suck every year, but that's the thing. You need to wait on tight. If you're not one of the top 2 or 3 guys, the Eric Ebrons, I mean, not the Eric
I'm going to have a
Ebrons,
third. I'll have the third pick
the
this year.
Kelseys, the Ertz of the world. If probably George Kittle is going to end up being a top 3, 4 tight end drafted next year. If you're not one of those guys, you need to wait, man, because there's either waiver wire guys or guys in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th round that are getting picked up that are going to produce top 10 numbers.
You want to do my draft next year?
Yeah, sure. We'll split the winnings if we win anything.
$650 if you win.
Is it a computer
Standard.
draft?
Yeah.
Yeah. You come over and we'll do the draft. And
Fuck that. I'll just give you my login. Just
okay,
do draft.
even better. Yeah, I'll do your draft. But I mean, the other part that we talked about is that I can't just do the draft. You got to make the waiver wire moves.
Yeah, you're true. That's
The
true.
waiver wire moves, the trades, all that shit.
Yeah.
It's half and half, man. You can draft great and not do anything and lose, or you can draft like shit and pick up 2 or 3 waiver wire moves and end up
you're
the
right.
Yeah,
rest of the game.
which is what Frank did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank rode that to losing to Donald in the championships, but
Well, I think Donald did it too. Donald, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. At the draft, Donald probably had the second or third worst
drafts.
teams
Yeah.
in the draft. Derrick Henry was like his second pick.
Jesus.
Yeah, he had a fucking shit draft, but he ended up picking, I want to say Philip Lindsay,
I picked up Philip Lindsay.
or I mean, I don't remember exactly who he picked up. I can go in really quickly.
Yeah, it's
look.
okay. Fuck it.
But
Let's finish up tight ends before we move on to the defense. And
nah, we don't need
we don't worry about defense.
We didn't really talk about it.
That's where I had the
Yes, we got it. You had the best kicker in the back. Who were your kicker in defense?
Bears and the guy whose name I can't pronounce because it's
the guy from Houston.
Camilla Fairbairn. Yeah. Fairbairn.
Fairbarn.
Yeah, whatever his name is. Yeah, that guy. Fairbairn.
Fairbarn. That's what,
Yeah.
that's what they call him.
Kaimi Fairbairn.
Sure.
Oh, Kaimi Fairbairn.
Oh, you're a samurai now?
He's a samurai.
Nice.
So really quick, a couple of one of the guys that Donald picked up that why he was there, James Conner. He picked up James Conner in the waiver wire, I believe, and he also picked up Elijah McGuire from the Jets. He picked up Gerard Cook,
Yeah.
Jared Cook.
whatever.
No, he is Gerard Cook.
Gerard.
And he also had Matt Ryan pan out as the third best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Sometimes
So I mean, you got to make those moves sometimes.
Yeah.
To be able to win. Man.
Sometimes those are the way the cookie crumbles.
It is.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole point about tight ends is there's always guys that are not gonna get drafted. They're gonna end up in the top 10,
Yep.
and you need to wait, man.
Yeah, you just kind of need to play it out. I get it. My thing with fantasy football has always been I drop too quickly, and I toss people to the trash.
Yeah.
I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And
should
also,
really just be patient.
you probably let's just throwing this out there. You probably shouldn't draft drunk.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
never draft drunk.
probably number one on
Listen,
your
I
strategy.
Don't draft
bullet
drunk.
points.
I try to buy a bottle of rum every time I do an auction league draft, hoping people just fucking house it and draft really, really drunk so they make mistakes.
Yeah, I threw the party at my house.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, it wasn't a good
probably not a great idea. Like, hey, we know we're going to record a podcast this day. Let me have a party and the draft on the same day.
Yeah, let me do everything on one
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I think the two big mistakes a lot of people make is they either drop too early or they
Yeah.
hold on to a guy and play him way too long.
Yep.
Which was kind of one of our problems, I think.
And
with-
then you get annoyed when that guy
Baldwin.
blows up on your bench, and you're just like, this
yeah,
week
of
I
course.
should
The
have
one,
done
fucking
it.
one
the
week.
1 week you bench him, he blows up.
That's my CJ Anderson.
Yeah.
my God.
2 years ago in the auction league, that was my guy. I had
I
him,
love
and I'd
CJ
never
Anderson.
fucking play him. And then when I wouldn't, I remember I was still working at TJ
Toys.
Maxx.
Oh my
That was-
God, I
yeah.
forgot about that.
That was like in between. And that morning, I get to work, and I took him out, and
man.
I just for whatever random reason. And then that day, he scored 38 points. It was like 38 point whatever. I don't care. 38 points. I was like, forever. We'll never draft CJ Anderson again.
Yeah.
Well, he barely plays now in the league anyways.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
He got
Yeah,
in,
I
though.
don't give a shit though if he's like if he's the starting running back, for the fucking
Super Bowl
Steelers
winning,
next
whatever,
year.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
CJ Anderson takes away James Conner's job.
Like he takes the Space Jam football and like absorbs James
And absorbs
Conner's
all of-
powers,
yeah.
and I still won't do
Exactly.
it.
All right. So Half.
Yes.
Who was your biggest disappointment this year? One player.
Myself.
No, that's just in life.
Okay. No, honestly. Biggest disappointment, I would have to say Gronk.
Yeah.
Where he was drafted and what he produced. Yeah. But I mean, if we're looking at that statistically, it was Jordan Howard.
Oh, yeah. I would say.
Because Jordan Howard was picked third, and at least Gronk was in the top 10 in tight ends.
That's
Jordan
fair.
Howard was like 30.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, so it would be either one of those two. And that's only because they're still on my team. Like, you're talking about guys that are dropped like Robbie Anderson, stuff like that. But no, because they were drafted so high, those two. And again, at least with Gronk ended in the top 10 of tight ends. Jordan Howard ended at like 30. It wasn't really close. Like, I'd say probably Howard was my biggest bust of the year. That or Alex Collins. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
That's fair.
Yeah, Alex Collins. I mean, Jay too.
Yeah, Jay. Oh my god, my whole drafted team. I drafted Janikowski at some point too. Like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, kicker's kicker.
All
Whatever.
right, so who's your biggest disappointment in both leagues?
I think Jordan Howard in the auction league by far, right? Because I was counting on him to be my workhorse,
And he wasn't.
that I could build the team around, and I could,
Yeah.
make moves around him. That's an easy one. In the keeper league, that's a little bit more complicated. I think the easy answer is Le'Veon, right? Because he didn't play all season, but it was like a gamble with him going into it. I'd like to say Doug Baldwin because coming into it, he'd had 2,000-yard seasons. He was a top, 7 or 8 receiver.
Top 10, top 12, yeah.
So I'd like to say him, but I gotta say Fournette, man. He was, once the shit started happening with Bell, he was the same thing with Howard, right? He was the guy we felt we needed to build a lineup around, and he wasn't on the field. And then he gets back on the field and it's great. And then he throws a punch in a football game. Like that, and that late in the season, getting into the playoff push. If we win the game that we lost that he got suspended, we get a bye week.
Yeah.
And we don't lose that first round playoff game.
Yeah.
So basically that punch may have cost us the championship.
Fair enough. Because
So-
we actually did really well championship week.
So I would probably say Fournette just because we counted on him so heavily.
Okay.
All right.
What do you got?
All right. So in my work league,
Well, you won, so nobody cares.
yeah. I mean, I would say Le'Veon Bell because I did draft him. I had the second pick in the draft and I drafted Le'Veon Bell. The only reason why I'm not like whatever about that is because I got lucky and I got James Conner. So it didn't end up really biting me in the ass too much. I really have no regrets about anything I did in that league. I won it.
I don't know how. Like we didn't go over your roster, but your roster in that
my
league,
roster was.
it's like the
disgusting.
people that you were competing against. It was like if Jelly and Santino were drafting teams against you.
Yeah, I mean, my draft was
Because this guy had
legit. I had
everybody.
guys putting up 14, 15 points a week on my bench.
See, that's not fair.
Well, I mean, it's not my fault.
Like, just listen to this team real quick.
Okay, go for
Yeah,
it.
so
Let's
I
do this.
drafted Andrew Luck, who ended
Okay.
up in the top 5.
Yeah.
Adams, who was the number 1.
Okay.
Stephon Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
McCaffrey.
Okay.
Nick Chubb.
Okay.
You
You drafted Nick Chubb, or did you pick him up
I ended
off
up
waiver?
picking up Nick Chubb.
Okay.
Once that whole trade with this guy getting
Yeah.
out of the Browns. I drafted Kittle.
Okay.
I drafted Mark Ingram.
Okay.
I drafted Alshon Jeffrey.
Okay.
Kenyon Drake.
Okay.
Le'Veon Bell.
All right.
I picked up on the waiver wire Adams, the running
Yeah.
back from the Eagles. I picked up Nick Chubb and Jamal Williams
Okay.
from Green Bay, and the second running back from Pittsburgh. Actually, the third.
Yeah.
Samuels.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Back when Connor went out for a week or two.
Yeah, for a couple of actually, Connor's been out for like 4 weeks or whatever. But yeah, either way, I picked him up. I picked up Will Lutz, who ended up in the top like 3 kickers,
Weird.
and Chicago's defense.
Yeah, Chicago's D was legit.
So I mean, I had guys on my
He
bench.
he had Le'Veon Bell and Christian McCaffrey
Yeah, well,
that he drafted.
the guy that won our auction league had Gurley and Christian McCaffrey, the number 1 and 2 running
But
backs.
auction is different, right? Like if you're willing to spend that money on running backs,
if you're
that's
willing
a
to
different
spend,
story.
I'm with Black on this one. If you're willing to spend the money on that,
You can get whoever you want.
Yeah.
but you like people like this is a snake draft, and somebody let you draft Le'Veon Bell and Christian McCaffrey.
Like,
not somebody.
I feel like
how many teams is it?
I feel like
10.
I feel like I
9
need to get
people.
into this. I need to get into this because I need a slump buster league that I can just win and feel good about myself.
I kind of want to join your league because your league sounds exactly like that too.
No, I'm just the asshole in the league.
No, I don't know. You had a guy in the championship game not even paying attention that he was in the championship game.
Yeah.
If there's no, I mean, that is the ultimate like slack league.
No. Everyone else in the league is on top of it. He does what he does.
I don't know, man.
He's like, oh, okay, cool.
No, I mean, listen, there was a couple of guys.
Do I know him?
No.
No?
Yeah, I think maybe Tri. He lives in Texas now.
No.
Nah, you don't know.
He wasn't at the bachelor party.
No.
Okay, so then I don't know.
There was
Trey
a couple
wasn't
of teams in this league that were legit. The guy that I played for the championship had Mahomes, Julio Jones, Adam Thielen,
No, it's not
Mixon, Sony Michel, Njoku.
His
and
running backs
Landry.
were shit.
Yeah.
Mixon and Sony Michel, that's shit. Right? That's shit at running back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
Dude, Melvin Mixon wasn't bad.
Dude,
You know-
but one of them could have had either Le'Veon Bell.
Listen,
Le'Veon Bell didn't play,
one
but
of the
theoretically speaking, one of them could have had either Le'Veon Bell or Christian McCaffrey.
One of the guys had Zeke Elliott and Melvin Gordon. Had Matt Ryan at quarterback. Had Travis Kelce at tight end.
That's a great squad right
I mean,
there.
the teams are not bad, man. It's just the problem is the bottom 3 or 4 teams were bad. We're talking like 3-4 win teams.
Right.
So it was a very top heavy
two-win
league.
team.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than a two. I've never seen anybody win 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I didn't pay attention the last 3 weeks of the auction league, and I didn't win 2 games.
Listen, won 2 games and I still didn't end up in last place.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you're in last place in my heart, but
Thanks.
So all right, so who were your 2 biggest busts in the other
so my
2
2
leagues?
biggest busts, I would say, I think Baldwin
Okay.
in ours, only because we desperately needed a number 2 receiver for
And
the
you
majority
just
of the
didn't get it
league,
from him.
and, for the majority of the season, and he just never did anything.
He never materialized.
until like week 11,
Which was crazy because Wilson, even when Wilson was putting up points, they weren't to Baldwin.
It was all Tyler Lockett.
That shit was really that was
Tyler
the most
Lockett
frustrating
and
part.
another receiver and a tight end and a running back.
Yeah,
and it was everybody
he'd have a
but
game where he'd
Doug
throw to
Baldwin.
like 12 different people.
Yeah.
And then Baldwin, I remember Baldwin's another one that he dropped a couple of passes in the end zone
And then that's it.
in a
Stop.
couple of games,
Yeah.
and then that was it.
Yeah, that
And in the auction, so the auction league, it was in your work league it was Bell, in the keeper league it was Baldwin,
in the auction league.
Keenan Allen.
No, it definitely wasn't Keenan Allen. I can let me go back really quick. Sorry, you're gonna have to edit this because I don't remember who my number 2 receiver was. Because I traded for DeAndre Hopkins,
Nice.
and I think I traded for him like week 10.
Oh, Andrew Luck has got
You know, you can click on the week and then it brings up like a scroll menu.
Andrew Luck has got 3
Instead of the
touchdowns
arrows.
right now.
Okay, well, yeah, let me see who I started with.
Yeah, the Eagles lost. The Eagles beat the Redskins 24-0.
I did draft Edelman.
Mark Sanchez, dude.
Yeah.
Or
Sanchez.
not even. They bought. Oh, I forgot. It's not even Mark Sanchez. Now it's some guy that was like in the CFL or some shit. Josh Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Like,
You know how he learned the roster? He played Madden.
No way.
That's how he learned the people on the
Josh
Redskins roster.
fucking. Listen, to be honest with you, if I was Colin Kaepernick, I wouldn't have gone there anyway.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, oh, you can take your offer,
Yeah, shove it.
turn that sumbitch sideways.
And shove it straight up your candy
All right,
ass.
so I got 2. So the 2 guys that I did draft Doug Baldwin in the auction league as well.
Okay.
Who was terrible. The only thing that saved me there was I had Julian Edelman, who didn't play until week 5, but the first couple of
When
weeks
he started,
it was
yeah,
rough.
yeah.
It was rough with Baldwin. The other guy was Greg Olson. I love.
Oh,
Greg
yeah, I love you
Olsen,
some
man.
Greg Olsen. But see,
And
again, I think based on the
He
conversation we
just
had earlier,
shit the bed.
based on the conversation we had earlier, tight ends, I don't think tight ends is a position where you can
Yeah,
you'd
can't count on
ever
them.
you'd ever
You
have
can't
to
count on
say, "Oh, this guy was my biggest bust," except in your position half because you drafted him so high.
them. Yeah, I mean, I only paid in the auction league. I think it was like $6 or $7 for Greg Olsen.
So in your
it
case,
didn't
I
kill
definitely
me,
would say Doug Baldwin's a
But
bigger.
man, I got no production from my tight end the entire year. I think he caught 2 touchdowns the whole year, and those were the only games. I think even one of those games, he had like 2 catches for 12 yards and a touchdown. So it wasn't even like he got me that many points, you know. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, besides that, I'm pretty happy. I was very disappointed with drafting Mixon.
Yeah.
In the draft, I remember I was like, God damn it, I can't believe I ended up with Mixon as my number 2 running back. But
And he did pretty well.
he did pretty well, man. I can't hate. In a PPR league, he was catching 4 or 5 catches a game. He ended up pretty well.
I would just like to
Barkley
see.
was a monster the whole year.
I would like to see Joe Mixon on our real football team and not the
Yeah.
Bungles.
The Bungles?
I think that would be interesting.
They're bad.
Yeah. I mean, again, they're not the Dolphins or the Redskins. I'd rather be a Bengals fan today.
Yeah. I'd rather.
Because you know what? At least you can say you have Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Sadly enough, I'd almost rather be a fucking Browns fan. At least that franchise looks like it's starting to
Yo.
maybe trend upward.
So, like, super side conversation. How bad was Hugh Jackson, right?
Oh
Yeah.
my God, he's fucking terrible.
I mean,
Listen, the interim coach has won more games in half a season than he won in 2 years there.
wow.
That's fucking pathetic.
When
With
you-
the same roster.
When your players come out and say you were the fucking problem,
Yep.
that's bad,
Did you
dude.
see both times Baker Mayfield stare him down when they played?
At the end of the game, he wanted to shake hands. He wanted to hug him, and Jackson went in for like the one arm hug, and Mayfield was like with the handshake
No.
far
Like,
away.
Baker Mayfield would throw a touchdown and he would run down the sideline just staring at him.
No,
I swear. Oh my God. They played,
Christ.
I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. He threw a touchdown and just turned around and looked at him and started doing, you know, how you kind of like do a little hop step while you're running down the field. Just for like 8 seconds, just staring right at Hugh Jackman. Jackson, whatever. Hugh Jackman.
Jackman?
Yeah, Hugh Jackson.
you know I'm gonna leave that in there, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna find this.
Shing.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Speaking of which, side story.
yeah, he's terrible.
Y'all saw that photo with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds
with a Christmas sweater.
with the
Yeah,
Christmas
it was fun.
sweater. And Jake Gyllenhaal. These fucking assholes said it was a sweater party.
Yeah, that was great.
That was great. Also, side note trivia: 20 years ago today, Mankind won the WWE Championship after Stone Cold came in. And hit the Rock
Oh,
with the
nice.
chair.
With the
This is the WCW spoiler that
yeah,
killed. This was the,
that'll put butts in seats.
yep.
Yeah.
This tonight was the night WCW Nitro died, where at least
Nice.
the death nail was hit.
The death blow was
Yeah.
the poison was administered because
yeah.
it was a slow death.
It was a
but-
slow death, but they said, "Hey, just so you guys know, on Nitro, they said, just so you guys know,
Tony Schiavone
goes, Mankind wins the WWE title.
Mick
tonight.
Foley.
Mick Foley wins the WWE title tonight. Ugh, that's their champion. And guess what happened? All the TVs turned off
Like
on WCW
400,000 people changed the channel at the same time to go watch it,
to watch it.
and that was it.
Fans as Hollywood Hogan walks away, and you look at us, 40,000 plus on hand. If you're even thinking about changing the channel to our competition, fans do not, because we understand that Mick Foley, who wrestled here one time as Cactus Jack, is going to win their world title. Gonna put some butts in the seat.
Yeah,
That it literally like was the beginning of the end for WCW.
it was
That is
crazy.
fantastic.
20 years ago today.
Was it? I think it was more. I think it was a bigger. No, I think it was like 500.
It was
half a
It
million
was
people.
it was something. That,
I'm not gonna lie. Remember those? I think that was the last time I watched wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And no, man, it was fantastic.
I remember it too. I remember
It
Tony
was
Schiavone coming on and
fantastic.
saying,
Yeah, I was watching Nitro.
Nitro.
I was
Yeah,
one of those
yeah.
500,000
Yeah.
people. I was watching Nitro, and I was like, "Oh shit, no way!" And I flicked the channel, and I see the whole run in,
and then Austin comes down, grabs the chair,
the pop when
hits-
Austin came out was fucking
Oh my God.
insane. That was one of like the biggest pops he
Yep.
ever had.
And then he throws Mick Foley right on top of the Rock. 1, 2, 3, and he runs up and he walks off. And DX is in there celebrating.
yeah, and
with Mick
DX
Foley.
carries Mick Foley on their shoulders
Yeah.
all around the ring. Yeah, dude, I remember I was one of those 500,000 people or whatever
Yeah,
the number was.
That's when wrestling was good.
Yeah, well, hey, wrestling's still good right now.
Yo,
Yeah.
Becky Lynch,
The man,
best shit in the world right now.
She's great.
She's the fucking
All right,
amazing.
guys. Good night.
All right, now we're being thrown. Anyway, so here's the thing: we're going to end this podcast with some happy notes. Let's talk about what we expect next season.
Okay. Yeah. So what I expect next year, winning more championships, I guess.
Well,
I mean,
in the keeper league, listen, in the keeper league, I think it all hinges on what happens with Bell. But again,
Yes.
if our keepers, assuming we're still together, right? If our keeper are Le'Veon Bell and or
Hopkins.
Hopkins, even Fournette or Kerryon Johnson, the thing is, it's a running back league, right? It's not a PPR league.
Yeah.
So if we keep, let's say we went into it with Fournette and Bell again, I that's 2 top 15 running backs.
If they both stay healthy.
Right. And Bell, assuming his situation, is a top 3 running back. So I like our chances.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Always.
definitely not going into that season thinking Dolphin suit, right? Like you go into that season, if you have 2 top anything running backs, you have a decent pick, you go into it thinking championship.
Yeah, well, that's another thing is the pick. What pick we got? The last few years we've had the 5th pick, so we've always kind of sat right there where we can like, all right, if one of these 3 running backs falls to us,
that's what we get.
Yeah, we have that, or there's almost always a top 5, 6, 7 receiver that ends up in that spot.
Yeah.
So the Odell Beckhams get kept, the Julio Jones get kept.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's also always that team that has a like you guys who has kind of this conundrum of who to keep, and then they've got to drop somebody. Somebody's going to be there,
right?
Yeah.
And then you got to account for whoever comes in as a rookie.
Yeah.
Right. So like next year, a couple of running backs come. I don't know what the running back class looks like, but a couple of running backs come in that pushes Kerryon Johnson and Aaron Jones back down later in the draft, which makes them available.
Yeah.
I always like going with if it's possible, I'd rather go with the 3 running backs just to start, get it out the way.
Yeah, me too. I think 3 running backs, if you're playing a
standard league
15 running back in your flex spot, you're in good shape.
Yep, probably.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all going to hinge on the draft pick. Honestly, I would like to try this year again, if we can get everybody to agree on the stupid rule, maybe flip one of those guys for an extra pick.
Yeah.
But,
I agree 100%.
We'll see. Yeah.
But, I mean, in the auction league, my thing is...
I don't even know how I'm going to do the auction league next year.
You're going to do it. Stop being a bitch.
That's where I'm at right now.
Stop being a bitch. You're going to do it. You know you're going to do it. You have to. You have no choice. You were like the first person in the league. Besides
man, you got to stay in it. You can't do that shit.
Don't be a bitch. Just draft better.
But draft better, bro.
So
fuck you.
I've been in the...
Half can take my team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've been in the playoffs every year in that league, but I haven't gotten out of like the first fucking round.
Yeah, because you're always getting booted.
So, because I never end up in the top of the league. I'm always like the 5th or 6th place team. So I get booted in the first round of the playoffs. So I just want to make it.
Who won?
Out of the Brady one.
Oh, shit.
I want to make
Good job, Beetlejuice.
I want to make it out of the first round of the playoffs next year.
Okay.
And in my work league, I'm the champ, so I gotta
You gotta hold it down.
Yeah, I gotta hold it down there.
All right. Well, that's it.
And you?
Fuck this.
Win more than 2 games.
You know what I think I'm gonna do next year? Honestly, I'm gonna let Plex draft, and I'm not gonna drop a soul.
No, you can't do that either.
No. Yeah. You still gotta make moves, man. But I'll help you out with your draft.
There we go. Yeah, that's it, man. Just I need to get some redemption. That's
all right.
all I need to do.
Well, that's an hour and 50 minutes in.
Jesus Christ.
I would tell you guys we'll be back soon, but
we don't know when we'll be back.
See you next year.
See you guys next year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Later.
Peace.
See you next time.
Rock tasted Mr. Sacco at rock bottom. Rock, look out! He could taste it again tonight, and he does! Mr. Sacco! Mankind is locked in the mandible claw with Mr. Sacco. Mr. McMahon, you gotta do something! The Rock may be out. No! No disqualification!